Good everybody. I'm Vincent Jones, your host of this first official Kiwi Cricket Kōrero podcast. Today, I'll be joined by Otis Murray to go over the New Zealand vs Pakistan squad and also the Super Smash so far this season. Welcome, Otis.
Thank you for having me, Vincent.
So to start off with, we'll go over the New Zealand vs Pakistan squad. So what are your thoughts on the squad? The viewers will be able to see it on the screen now.
Well, obviously, it looks like a comprehensive normal black cap squad.
Yep.
Finally, again.
Yep.
We've had a series off, Bangladesh. We've absolutely choked against them.
Yeah, especially in those two games at Napier, wasn't it?
Yes, it's not been the greatest of time for the Black Caps.
No,
they've lost a few games against Bangladesh, but you've got to move on from that now. Kane Williamson's now back, but he's decided to skip game 3 in Dunedin to pretty sure it is his recent injury.
Yeah,
his knee injury.
Yep.
I don't know why he's just not decided to either skip the series or
it's an interesting one.
Not play the first 2 games or something.
But
it's interesting.
And
Josh Clarkson's been called in as his replacement.
I was going to ask your thoughts on that. Yeah, so what do you think of, do you think they'll play him? If I'm calling him in, I would think they would.
I got to see him play in Dunedin already this season in the reduced over game. He took a few poles. He looked good in the game. It didn't look out of the ordinary. He looked like a standard black cap, been there for a few games, ready to go.
Yep, and
also
the inclusion of Matt Henry. What's your thoughts on that? Coming back from that injury that he sustained in the World Cup.
Well, Matt Henry, he had that hamstring injury, obviously, during the World Cup.
Yep.
Is it really the right time to include him in a T20 series that New Zealand kind of has to prove themselves in?
Yeah,
I don't know. He's not usually he's not a T20 player. He plays a lot more Test cricket.
Yeah, and that series against South Africa that we need to, But I suppose it's good to get him in some match practice for that South Africa series, even if he only plays 3 of the 5 games.
For me, I would have sent him back to the Super Smash to play for Canterbury. They've got a few games coming up right on the trot right now, and it might be a good opportunity to play him there. However, you got to look to it. Matt Henry, he could have been replaced with Jacob Duffy. Who else is there? Tickner, Duffy, and then there's also Willow Rourke, who has been performing.
Yeah, and there's Ben Sears, who could have done the whole series. Who's only playing 2 games. You got to
look forward to it.
Yeah. And
you got to look forward to
it. Yeah. And Devon Conway also coming back. He only made a couple of runs in that T20 against the Stags at McLean Park the other day. What's your, he got a bit lucky, didn't he? He got that near drop off Dane Cleaver off. What do you think? What do you think of the inclusion of Devon Conway back into the side? Will he need to prove himself, or is he still in that top Black Caps T20 side? What's your thoughts on that one?
Sometimes players have an off day. Usually you can't let Devon Conway have a chance slip. He's one of the greatest in the world at his craft, and they were lucky that they got 2 chances at him at the end, and they took the second one. He only went for I think it was two runs in the end. And one of them was off the drop catch. So you got to look forward to it. The Firebirds, they got away with that game as well. The Stags,
we'll touch on that one later, though.
Played well.
And
Conway, it was just an off day, I suppose.
I think so. And Cole Jamieson, Trent Bolt and Jimmy Neesham aren't all available. So do you think maybe there's actually could have been an opportunity for them to field another young side, to see some of those up-and-comers get a chance before that T20 World Cup in the West Indies and the UAE, the West Indies and the USA? Do you think they could have maybe gone for a bit more youth rested some of the senior guys like Tim Southey, Williamson, Ferguson, Henry, Mitchell, Phillips, Mitchell Santner as well. What do you think of that one?
I mean, you've got to give Williamson games right now. I mean, he has not had many games since the IPL when he did his ACL.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to play him. I don't know why you've got to just play him right now. I mean, Devon Conway, he's just came off a break.
Yeah.
They've given Rachin Ravindra a break for this series.
And I think that's fair enough. He's been on the road for months. He needs, it's good that they're not playing him for Wellington as well, because that would have just been pointless resting him from the Black Cap squad. And I think he'll go against Australia in that T20 series. I think they'll just give him a rest and let him play against Australia and see what he can offer, because he's probably there or thereabout. His spin on those West Indies pitches where New Zealand are playing their group games might be vital. Do we run with three spinners?
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at Daryl Mitchell as well. He's been an absolute workhorse last year, and he is just. I think he played. They're going to keep picking him.
50 games across the calendar year, didn't he? Something like that across the three formats.
Something.
Maybe he's someone that needs a rest. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why they didn't rest him in the last series against Bangladesh. I mean, there's probably an option to bring in Dean Foxcroft somewhere there. I mean, he hasn't performed the best this season, but I mean, he had a great performance last Super Smash.
Yeah.
And he's just become the captain of the Vaults. I mean, you've got to give your players a shot.
Yeah. And he scored a good 50 against the Brave, along with Phillips to get the side home, and against that tough New Zealand bowling attack of when you've got the likes of Southey, Tim Pringle, Mitchell Santner, Scott Cooperline, all those guys with international experience. And both those two, especially, I really enjoyed Foxcroft innings that game. Phillips came out and played the way we know, and I think that took some of the pressure off Foxcroft and really just allowed him to work his way to a 50, which he ended up getting, which was good to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see these players who have not had many games for the Black Caps, get some opportunities in the domestic scene. They're working on their craft. Foxcroft, I expect he will probably come in closer to that T20 World Cup. I mean, he's a spin bowler. I wouldn't be surprised if they pick some sort of 5 spinners with 2 of them, or 2 or 3 of them being all rounders. I mean, I don't expect as many seamers in that tournament. I mean, Matt Henry, he's got to be worried now, because he's on the chopping block. He has to perform now. When he's been given the opportunity.
Same with Adam Milner and Ferguson.
They've been given the opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, Lockie Ferguson's only playing at the 3rd, 4th, and 5th game of the series. I mean, you've got to look at it. Are the Black Caps preparing on selecting a team with Ben Sears in it?
Yeah.
Because he's playing games 1 and 2. Yeah. I mean, you've all got to look forward to this, because it's a very rejigged squad, I would say. However, questions have got to be raised. I mean, O'Rourke's nipping on the heels. I mean, Duffy's nipping on the heels. I mean, Kergeline's nipping on the heels. Everyone's nipping on the heels in that fast bowling attack. And it's really, you're only going to be able to pick 4 of those seamers. And do you want a Kergeline option who can bat a little bit too? Or do you want someone out and out? I mean, Doug Bracewell, he scored that beautiful 93 the other day in the Super Smash. But I mean, you've also got to look. I mean, does New Zealand really have a 3rd opening choice? I mean, they have Rachin Ravindra, Finn Allen, and Devon Conway. But do you really want Rachin Ravindra and Seifert? But do you really want Finn Allen or who's been very inconsistent in all formats?
I mean, he's been good for he's been good for Auckland, but he's one of those players that just can't translate his international. I mean, his domestic form into the international. I mean, he was good in the Ford Trophy. Top run scorer by quite a long way. He sort of carried that form over to the Auckland Super Smash games, and then has sort of dipped off in those T20 games. I mean, that 3rd T20 game that New Zealand ended up winning on Duckworth Lewis, he was probably the reason why they ended up winning that game, to be honest. And that innings, he showed a bit of calm. And also that innings the other day in the Super Smash against Canterbury, he got off to a slow start, but as he built his innings, he was able to excel into that finale. We all know, hitting 21 off his Shodi over. So, the talent's there. I think he just needs to. I think it will be a make or break series, really, this one against Pakistan and the next one against Australia, if Van Allen is to make that World Cup side.
There's always going to be questions around Van Allen's talent. Yeah. He was meant to be the next Martin Guptill.
Yeah.
But as you look at it, it's not worked out as planned. Martin Guptill, he's just came in for the Aces and done so well. He's retired basically from international cricket now.
Yeah, I don't see him being selected. I think it would be.
No,
it'd be going back on their word, really. They see we're picking Van Allen. He's the future. Are they, why would they go back to Guptill if the reason that they picked Allen was because he's the future?
Exactly. And you've also seen Colin Munro pull off some absolutely amazing performances in the BBL. He has been absolutely hitting the ball for the Heat. He hasn't played for the Black Caps since around 2019, 2020.
2020, yeah.
However, it's got to be looked at, because if he's going to keep dropping these performances in the BBL, how are you going to not pick a guy who averages quite a lot and is striking at around 150, 160 in one of the premier T20 leagues? How are you not going to pick him? There's questions to be raised, because Trent Bolt's going to come back for the T20 World Cup. Kyle Jamieson will come back. Michael Bracewell will be back.
He'll be pushing for that.
Will Rachin Ravindra be needed to be dropped off for Michael Bracewell? Because there's many options that they could jig around with this Black Cap side. However, they just need to pick the right side for the right tournament.
And finally, on the New Zealand versus Pakistan series, what's your prediction for how the series will go for New Zealand? Do you have a top run scorer, top wicket taker? Your series predictions. So on that, what do you think?
Well, for Pakistan, you can't look past Babar Azam. I think he's going to be the top run scorer for this series. You look at the Black Caps squad; it's more of an overall effort. There's not anyone special to put your finger on. But Pakistan, they have Babar Azam. He's going to be the player that the Black Caps are going to need to get out, and they're going to need to get him quick. Top wicket taker. There's a few options. Tim Southey comes to mind. Who else is there? There's Ish Sodhi. There's Mitchell Satner. But there's also Shaheen Shah Afridi from Pakistan. There's some great options, but I'm going to go for a wild card. I'm actually going to go for Adam Milne.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
he's going to. I think he can pull out a good one. He can certainly take a 6 or 7 for on his day in T20 cricket. Even I think. He's just got to find some form in the end, and I think on these New Zealand pitches, they're going to be fast, bouncy, and it's going to work out for him. And I think for my overall series prediction, I'm going to predict a 3-1 New Zealand win.
So you're going to say it's going to be a game that's going to be washed out or abandoned?
Oh yeah. Dunedin will probably be a washout, knowing my luck, but yeah, we'll see. We'll look at it and we'll move on.
Okay, now on to the Super Smash. So we'll start off with Moa Bassett's knock against Central Districts. He got about 32 from 38, I think, against Auckland the other day, and then he came out and smashed pretty bloody good knock, to be honest, against a pretty good CD side that's got some pretty good bowlers with the likes of Ajaz Patel, Jaden Lennox, Doug Bracewell, Blair Tickner, and Bevan Small. So what did you think of that knock from Abbas?
I was watching it live. It was a great knock. It pulled Wellington back into that game.
Yeah.
They were down and out after Robinson and Conway went early. They both went for 2.
And
their best 2 players probably in their side. And Kelly also went. There was someone who had to hold up in the end.
Yeah.
And I suppose Moa Bass did that. He had a beautiful support role from good old Michael Bracewell down the other end.
Yeah.
He's just getting back into it. He scored around 40 off 30.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great for him getting into the Black Caps side. But I mean, there's been some great knocks in that in the Super Smash so far. So it was another great knock, but there's been multiple others.
Yeah. So now Nathan Smith and Peter Younghusband, they've taken 20 wickets between them, 10 each. Are they the reason that Wellington are doing so well? What's your thoughts on that one?
Well, I mean, it's always got to be a team effort. I mean, you've seen that there's been some great performances. Peter Younghusband and Nathan Smith. Obviously, they took a few wickets down in Alexandra when they absolutely rolled the Otago for 47. I mean, Nathan Smith, he took four for in that game, four for five. I'm pretty sure it was.
4 for 5.
And then Logan Van Beek took 3 for 19. I'm pretty sure.
Yesterday,
something like that. I mean, I mean, there's been some great performances. I suppose if I'm looking at it, Nathan Smith has the 6th best average for wickets. He takes a wicket every 12.10 runs. And for Peter Younghusband, it is 12.6 runs.
Oh, yes, it's about the same.
Yeah, I mean, they're taking wickets at about the same rate. I mean, Nathan Smith, he's hit that line so far. I mean, he played brilliantly against the Otago. He's played brilliantly the whole time. I mean, you've just got to look at it. I mean, he's got the 3rd best dot ball percentage as well in the Super Smash.
So that's good.
I mean, Wellington can't really ask for a better bowler right now.
He's got to be on the near of that, making that play. I would think so.
He can. I think he's pushing for selection, but I don't think he'll get selected until after the T20 World Cup. I mean, I don't think they can. The Black Caps aren't really in the position to risk another player falling through. So
and then moving on to Tim Robinson. So that knock against Otago, where he made 139. That knock was just incredible at a ground as big as the Basin. Did you enjoy that knock from an Otago man yourself, or did you just got to admire good cricket, I suppose, when you see it, don't you think?
Well, I was a little bit, damned, it was against my homeland, but he put on most of Wellington's runs. I mean, he's the top run scorer in the Super Smash. I mean, he had that one great inning, and he's kind of fallen off since then. Yeah,
but he's still scoring. He's still striking a good rate. He just needs to maybe put on a 40 off, even a 40 off 20 or a 50 off 30. I mean, he's that Finn Allen type that I think Wellington were needing after they've lost Allen back to Auckland, and I think Robinson's actually taken that role quite well.
Yes, I mean, he's got the 5th best striking average in the whole the Super Smash. I mean, he's got 190s, which is great for any player. I mean, yes, I mean he's hitting the ball well when he gets a chance. However, he just needs to keep it up because he's the top run scorer by about 30 runs to 30 or 40 runs to Henry Nicholls. It's got to be seen because Wellington they're in the spot to win. They're in the prime spot now. They're top of the table. They got Auckland, nipping away, and Canterbury nipping away. But I mean, the top 3 looks pretty set now. I mean, it looks like it's going to be the Firebirds, and then the Aces, and then the Kings. I mean, the Volts, the Stags, and the Brave are kind of all out now. I mean, the Volts have got to. I think the Volts are going to have to win the next. They're going to have to win 3 of the next 4 games. The Stags are going to have to win 3 of the next 4 games. And then the Brave are going to... They've only played 5. However, they're going to have to win all 5 with only 4 points on the board.
And going to that table, so Canterbury, I mean, they're doing well. I mean, I think with Auckland, though, they're going to lose Guptill. They've lost Guptill to the IL T20. They're going to lose Allen to the Black Caps. They're going to lose Ferguson to the Black Caps. Can some of those other players step up and take the score the runs? Because I mean, you saw in that game that they played in Dunedin and Alexandra, where they actually ended up losing to Otago, and that was when they had really a a few newer players on the side like Will O'Donnell and Cole Brooks. So do you think that Auckland actually might find themselves suddenly dropping down that table, and the likes of Central Districts or Otago maybe make a late push for the elimination final, or even the final?
I mean, Auckland, they've set themselves up in a great spot with basically everyone having 4 games to play. I mean, Canterbury's only got 3. They've got to be worried because, the issue is if anyone finishes on level with Otago, Otago is going to come way below them because their current net run rate is -2 when they got absolutely smashed. I think it was as low as 6.5 at one point.
Yeah, after those 2 Wellington games.
They've pulled it back really well. I mean, they've got to be concerned. Every team has got to be concerned in this league. I mean, the Firebirds could drop off pretty easily as well. I mean, they've got a few tough games ahead of them as well. I mean, they've got to watch out. I mean, they've got Canterbury. Canterbury in 2 days, and then they've got the Stags. So they've got to be worried. I mean, the Stags when they've got all their players, they're a very dangerous team. We need to look out for them. I mean, it still could go anyone's way. I mean, the only team that I'm probably going to rule out right now is the Brave, because they've got some tough fixtures ahead of them. I mean, they've got to win against Otago. I mean, Otago is probably the easiest fixture in there. I mean, Otago has been a weak side. And they need to capitalise on them. They've got their final game at the Uni Oval. I mean, they beat them at the Uni Oval in the elimination final last season. They beat the home support. So you've got to watch out, because there's always a chance that Otago could pull off an upset. Anyone can pull off an upset in this Super Smash. I mean, it's gonna see whoever gets the top 3. It's going to be a mix of whoever wins the final, because anyone can beat anyone. So,
and Henry Cooper, he's a player that Northern keeps selecting, but is it time for maybe him to be dropped from that side? He's got a very low average. He's got a very low striking rate. Do they want someone like Peter Bocock or Pete Drysdale coming into that middle order just to smash the ball around? They probably need some firepower in that middle order after they've got the openers of Katini Clark and Tim Seifert. And I'm not sure who they'll bring up to the top of the order when Seifert is off with the Black Caps. That'll be an interesting one, don't you think, for the Brave?
Yeah, I mean, there's not many choices for the Brave to bring up to the top of the order right now. I mean, they could push up Joe Carter a little bit more. I mean, Henry Cooper right now, Jeet Raval, but I mean, Jeet Raval, he's also proved to not be in the best form right now. I mean, he's striking all right, but there's always room for improvement. I mean, what else is there? The strike rates. Henry Cooper's not even in the top 10 for the best strike rates in the whole of the Brave. I mean, he's got to watch out. I mean, he's not hit many fours. I don't think he probably hasn't had a 6 this season. I mean, he's not even in the most runs. I mean, he's got to watch out. He's not in a great position right now. I mean, Northern, they're not in the greatest position. I mean, they've won in the past. However, they need a miracle right now to win again.
So Sky Bowden, she's a top wicket taker in the Women's Super Smash with 10 wickets. But the Hearts are finding themselves at the bottom of the table. Why do you think? How often do you think we find a top wicket taker, but they're side at the bottom of the table without a win?
Well, I mean, you've got to see it. I mean, it's not a one-person sport. I mean, it's multiple people. I mean, Maddie Green's pulled off the runs for the Aces. I mean, there's not really been many people supporting her, though. That's the issue. Guy Bowden's been the only one who's been kind of putting in the work, putting in the mahi for them. I mean, they haven't got many players who are stepping up for them. I mean, they've got those 2 players stepping up, and then the rest have kind of not been the greatest. I mean, currently, they find themselves near the bottom. They're in 5th. They've played 6 games. I mean, there's still only 1 win away from the Magicians. But I mean, net run rate's not that great either. I mean, they're a little bit behind the Magicians, and the Magicians, they've played 1 more game than everyone else. The Brave, they can still win it. I mean, everyone can still win these competitions. It's just a matter of how they do it.
Mm. And just to finish off, the Hinds. Well, we'll start off actually with PJ Watkins and her bowling for the Sparks. She's been on fire for them, hasn't she?
Yeah, I mean, PJ Watkins, she's just come in and done the job. I mean, a great left arm bowler. She just came in. Apparently, she's getting the wickets. I mean, it's the spark that Otago team needed. I mean, sometimes she hasn't been used to her full potential. I mean, she's taken 8 wickets so far in the competition. I mean, against Canterbury, she was only bowled 2 overs out of the maximum of 4. And she was still named the game changer, Dream 11 game changer. So she's great, but like there's also other. I mean, at least some bowlers are backing up PJ Watkins. I mean, Emma Black and Molly Lowe are doing great stuff there to back PJ Watkins up. But I mean, the other bowlers, they're not providing much. I mean, no one's providing much in that Sparks team apart from Susie Bates, PJ Watkins, Emma Black, and Molly Lowe right now. I mean, they've got to watch out because they could slip pretty quickly if they don't get a move on.
And finally, the Central Hinds, they've been down the bottom of the Super Smash table for a few years now, down that bottom with the Brave. But suddenly, this year, Jacob Oram coming to the side, head coach. They've lost Jess Watkins to Northern Districts. That hasn't upset them at all. They've gained Holly Armitage as their overseas player. She's performed well with the ball. She's done okay with the bat. She got them off to a fast start against Wellington. So, the Hinds, what are you thinking of them so far? What have you seen of them, and what do you think?
Well, for the Hinds, I think it's been an all-round team performance for them. I mean, you don't see many teams combine like that. I mean, you've seen all the bowlers, they've shared the wickets around. I mean, they've all put in their little bit. I mean, Hannah Rowe has been doing really well. I mean, she's scored 113 runs so far in the Super Smash. I mean, Holly Armitage has scored 97. I mean, it's just kind of a team performance, which is what you need mostly in the Super Smash. I mean, they've got quite a few catches. I mean, they're bowling well, they're batting well. They just need to keep it up going into the latter stages of the competition.
Sweet. So thank you for joining me today, Otis. It's been great to have a chat with you, talking about the Super Smash and the New Zealand versus Pakistan series. So you can check us out on X, Instagram, and Facebook, and also our website, which are all linked in the description below. So thank you, Otis, for your time today.
Sweet. Thank you, Vincent.
Thank you. So everyone, that's the end of the episode. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you in the next one. Haere rā.